understand the principles of life, and comprehend the realm of time. Hello everyone, I am teacher Daishin Ai. Welcome to explore the essence behind life through the study of numbers phenomena. Hello everyone, I am teacher Daishin Ai. Let us continue to interpret my book, Numbers Phenomena Human, which I published in 2019. It's been almost half a year since the last interpretation. During this time, of course, I have continued to do consultations and teaching, as well as those tasks that require repeated corrections, serious and meticulous, personalized and systematic adjustments for each individual. All of these have been ongoing every day, and before I knew it, my days were completely filled with these activities. Being able to give people the opportunity to make choices and improve their lives makes me feel both happy and fulfilled. But I have always known that interpreting the book on numbers phenomena human should not be put aside. In fact, it accomplishes a few very simple, yet very important things. First, it provides a basic entry point for those who have no understanding of numbers phenomena at all. Gradually, they will see that every event in our lives, which we once thought happened by chance, actually follows a pattern and can be observed. It can be understood and perceived. Going a bit deeper, it is to help those who repeatedly search for answers at different stages of life and long for opportunities to improve themselves, understand that life is not something that can only be experienced. It can be predicted, understood, and even truly shaped and improved step by step. By taking it a step further, I want people from all walks of life to see that numbers phenomena are not just a tool for understanding people. They also have practical application value in every aspect of life. Ultimately, all of this is really about one thing, bringing numbers phenomena from being overlooked by humanity to being recognized so that they can realize the immense value that humanity is striving for and that they inherently possess. So let's continue our interpretation.
Understand the principles of life and comprehend the realm of time. Welcome to our program. This show is hosted by teacher Dai Shinai, the developer of Numbers Phenomena, who will analyze the core content from the book Numbers Phenomena Human. She will lead us to deeply explore the essence of life behind numbers.
In the previous episode, we interpreted the chapter on transmission and inheritance from the book. Mainly, we explained the concept of transmission in this chapter, discussing how individuals tend to attract groups that share the same patterns as themselves. And the group itself in turn also shapes, guides, and even amplifies the behavior of individuals. These are not concepts far removed from our daily lives, but realities that happen around us every day. People within a group often display very obvious similarities and commonalities in numbers phenomena. And these commonalities are not formed by chance, nor are they the result of later communication where they decide which numbers represent luck for each other and then adopt them. Rather, it is because they inherently possess similar life numbers, phenomena information that they come together and form a small group. They become a group because the numbers phenomena itself is a manifestation of a person's life information, from a person's way of thinking, cognitive style, interests, preferences, behavioral habits, emotional responses, and even those things about themselves that they may not be aware of. Subtle life tendencies that they themselves have never even noticed. All of these things are fully revealed in each person's numbers phenomena, unfolding throughout the details of life and becoming each individual's unique life journey. So in this section where we discuss how numbers phenomena transmit and inherit group information, we mentioned that when different people carry similar numbers phenomena, it also means that they possess similar ways of thinking, similar emotional expressions, similar interaction patterns, similar behavioral habits, and even similar life purposes. As a result, in their respective lives, they will, through every choice, every action, and every preference or hobby, they gradually draw closer to each other. Naturally, birds of a feather flock together and people form groups. This is how it happens. Therefore, as mentioned in the book, individuals within a group naturally tend to have similar numbers phenomena. They also end up forming similar life worlds. Previously, I came across a case where 6 or 7 very close female friends formed a small circle, and after the age of 35, they were all successively diagnosed with cancer. Moreover, the primary organs affected by cancer in each of them were basically the same. One of their family members even firmly believed that this group of friends had been cursed. But when we laid out and analyzed the numbers phenomena for each of them, we found that they all shared similar number combinations, and these combinations are exactly what we discuss in our course. They possess number combinations that carry a very high risk and are associated with cancer in certain organs. Of course, from the perspective of numbers phenomena, this is not surprising. In fact, it can even be considered inevitable. Every one of my students who studies numbers phenomena knows what similar number combinations indicate. They show that these individuals share similar mindsets. For example, they may have long-term tendencies toward pessimism, depression, and suspicion, and at the same time, they also experience similar emotional fluctuations. Repeated sadness, low moods, and unstable or chronically poor sleep patterns. Then, moving on to diet, to interactions with others, to every small habitual behavior and choice in life, and even to the daily rhythm of living. All of these are constantly shaping the outcome of developing cancer, so this is not some kind of collective curse or spell. Rather, it is a group of people who have long been dissatisfied with life and complain about their marriages, which naturally brings them together to find comfort in each other's company. In their numbers phenomena, it is clear that when they gather, they drink together, talk about recurring sorrows, cry, and complain about their husbands because they share similar goals, similar life situations, and similar coping mechanisms. So this makes it even easier for them to come together, and the commonalities within such a group will amplify each individual's personal traits during their interactions, and even, through daily interactions, accelerate the onset of this condition.
Through observing numbers phenomena, we can see that people coming together is not a coincidence. Each person's personality, interests, habits, and life needs naturally draw like-minded individuals together. Within a group, individual traits can be mutually reinforced and even amplified. The occurrence of similar events within a group not only stems from similar mindsets, emotions, and behavioral patterns, but also from the shared use of the same group numbers. For example, families as a unit often experience similar illnesses and life events. Likewise, members of the same organization use the same codes. Company registration numbers used by corporate groups, for example. These shared numbers phenomena serve as the underlying blueprint for group commonality, providing valuable insights into the countless and ever-changing incidents that occur. Let's summarize the formation of a group and its direction of development. On one hand, it is driven by the cognition, personality, interests, habits, goals, and needs of individuals. These are clearly reflected in the numbers phenomena of individuals. On the other hand, it is also influenced by the numbers phenomena shared and used by the group. Under the intertwined effect of these dual dimensions, behind what appears to be random and accidental, there already exists a deeply rooted inevitability.
Understand the principles of life and comprehend the realm of time. Welcome to the show. This program is hosted by Teacher Daishin Ai, the developer of Numbers Phenomena. By analyzing Teacher Daishin Ai's Numbers Phenomena and examining the book's Numbers Phenomena Human, we are guided to deeply explore the essence of life behind numbers.
So, in our daily lives, the phenomenon of similar people gathering together is actually everywhere. A group of people gradually forms a circle of friends because each person seeks to fulfill their own emotional and life needs. A group of people comes together due to shared interests and habits, forming various types of activity organizations. A group of people unites to accomplish a task, forming a startup team. If we look further, a group of people gathers together because of shared beliefs, and we call this a religious group. They may appear different on the surface, but in fact, they all share a similar structure. And all of this has long been reflected in the numbers phenomena that belong to both individuals and groups. You might ask, teacher, why do you say it has already been reflected in them, and why haven't these people noticed it? At the same time, what kind of things are happening? Let's use an example. For instance, in entrepreneurship, what kinds of problems might arise? If a dispute occurs within a group, we can call it a lawsuit, right? We need to understand that a dispute is not something that suddenly falls from the sky as an unexpected event at a certain moment. Rather, it is the result of each individual in the group who becomes involved in a lawsuit, each carrying their own cognitive patterns, behavioral habits, and chosen life paths, gradually leading to this outcome. In fact, these results have already been reflected in their numbers phenomena long before. However, the people walking on this path, which has long been laid out, are unaware that they are moving forward along an inevitable route. In life, whether consciously or unconsciously, we choose how to deal with events, how to respond, and thus push forward every moment of our lives. every step seems natural, but in fact, beneath each footprint lies a deep-rooted cause. And these roots are all reflected in each person's numbers, phenomena. All of this can be clearly understood and perceived through each person's numbers phenomena information, but we often fail to see it. It's not just that we often can't see it. Rather, before learning about and understanding numbers phenomena, it's simply impossible to see. So what happens? Small things keep happening in our lives every day, and you don't pay much attention to them. But when something big happens, it's very hard to immediately understand where it actually came from. And when each result appears, when it shows up in different groups and different events, people often don't connect them together. That's why we don't notice them. But the moment you start studying numbers phenomena and observing life through them, you'll experience countless moments of sudden realization. Because you'll discover that this group of people who end up in lawsuits, if you look at them before they came together, say 5 or 10 years ago, and if you could observe their numbers phenomena, for example, someone who gets involved in a lawsuit at age 45, if you had observed and analyzed their numbers phenomena when they were 30 or even 25, you would already be able to clearly analyze it through their numbers phenomena. What kind of inevitable outcome he will have with a group of people in the future. So when lawsuits and disputes arise within a group, we can clearly see through numbers phenomena that this is an inevitable result. However, in our daily lives, we usually only pay attention to these matters after they have already happened. So when does this numbers phenomena already appear in your information? In fact, it was already there as early as when you were a child. In fact, we could even say that before you were born, it was already present in your parents' numbers phenomena. Through your parents' numbers phenomena, their daily states, emotions, choices, and all those seemingly ordinary details in how they interacted with each other, these things were happening bit by bit, because numbers phenomena themselves are carried out through the natural, ordinary course of life. No one really goes looking for the root of everyday life. Who would go searching for the origins of their daily life? Such a person would be mistaken for being mentally unstable. And how would one even go about searching for these roots? Let's use the example we just mentioned about disputes arising within a group. Who, when a dispute occurs, would immediately realize that the dispute is just an outcome? That what I should do is immediately examine my own cognition and thinking, every one of my behavioral habits, and all the little details in my choices. My dispute is the inevitable result formed by the accumulation of all these little details. Who would come to such an understanding? Isn't this just too difficult? That's why Socrates left us with that famous saying before he died, the unexamined life is not worth living. And how many people can truly be aware of everything in their lives the moment it happens? Aren't we all just busy trying to solve problems, to minimize losses, and to deal with lawsuits only when issues arise, when the dispute actually happens? We just go and deal with the problem, right? So in our lives, whenever good or bad problems arise, we're always busy handling them, busy just living, busy coping, and busy trying to solve the troubles right in front of us. I also talked about this theory in one of my courses. I said that before we become aware of numbers phenomena in our lives, we can only be pushed forward by every event that happens, by every problem that arises. Because those tiny decisions made before a problem occurs, those everyday reactions, those habitual emotions and behaviors, no one ever looks back at them, except for a very small number of people who are capable of reflection. Those who reflect on the root of life will seek answers and think things through only after events have occurred. And this is also the way we respond after things have already happened. Therefore, numbers phenomena can also provide immense value for reflection to those who are willing to contemplate the ultimate value and meaning of their own lives. So, when we are unable to truly understand all of this, every big and small event in our lives can only passively occur within what we call our so-called natural way of living. This includes things like illness, lawsuits, divorce, and even relationships with our children. Through numbers phenomena, we clearly understand that these things do not suddenly barge into our lives. In fact, they have always been there, but only when a certain point in time arrives when they accumulate and form a result so significant that you can no longer avoid it. Do you have no choice but to experience it, deal with it, and be pushed forward as you go? So this still goes back to what I said in my course. Before you study and understand the information that numbers phenomena present in our lives, whether you admit it or not, you are being passively pushed forward by everything that happens in your life. But after learning about numbers phenomena, we all understand that everything is an inevitable manifestation of life through numbers. What appears to be a coincidence is, in fact, the result of countless seemingly ordinary perceptions, emotions, and choices, each progressing step by step to bring us to where we are today. Of course, we can truly see how every event in our lives is formed step by step. The process of life is not just about the final outcome, but it can actually be verified. While gaining insight through systematic and personalized adjustment plans, numbers phenomena can bring about real and effective improvement. This has been the direction we have consistently adhered to over the years, as seen in numerous specific cases. We have witnessed genuine improvements and unimaginable progress taking place.
Understand the principles of life and comprehend the realm of time. Welcome to all students and enthusiasts of numbers phenomena for tuning in. This program is hosted by teacher Dai Shin-ai, the developer of numbers phenomena. By analyzing teacher Dai Shin-ai numbers phenomena and examining the core content of books on numbers phenomena human, she leads us to deeply explore the essence of life behind numbers. That's all for this section. In the next session, we will continue to follow teacher Dai Shin-ai to understand the deeper information behind our life processes through numbers phenomena. Please remember, whether you wish to gain a deeper understanding of yourself or are searching for answers and direction in life, numbers phenomena can provide you with a clearer, more essential path of understanding and practical, feasible solutions.